It seems like only yesterday that we were watching retro video game prices skyrocket for no apparent reason, which led a lot of people to believe that there was no ceiling in sight. But not me. I saw the ceiling, and RGT 85 is still wrong about Gamecube prices. Welcome to Retronomics, the series that follows price trends in video games. I'm Nick, and I've been doing this series for almost as long as I've been on YouTube, and when you follow prices for that long, you start to notice some trends, and not just in prices, but in the YouTube algorithm as well. A few years ago, RGT 85 made this quote.
Time like we're starting to see with the NES, and honestly, I don't think so. I think if anything, this is like the ground floor of GameCube prices going up. Cube collecting getting even worse, and I guess that would be the word to use, worse, because there's a lot of games out there that collectors and even just video game players will want, but these prices are just going up and up and up, and people are paying these prices because these are desirable games.
And that prompted me to make a video disputing it. Now, for all you RGT stands out there, I'm not a hater. I just understand that if you want to get your channel noticed, you need to call out other YouTubers. And I respect other creators enough to be able to criticize them in a constructive way while also reaching a new audience. And plus, RGT 85 knows I'm just joking. Today, at the end of 2025, GameCube prices are falling? But wait, didn't I just make a video about how the game market wasn't crashing? Well, yes I did. I made a shorter video to kick the dust off of my channel and get the YouTube algorithm started again, and also start thinking about how I want to present Retronomics going forward. So let me know what you would like to see in these videos. It's really easy to add all of the prices together and compare them to the previous months or years to determine the health of the market. But one thing that I did mention at the end of the video was that the crash is almost impossible at this point in time, and I still stand by that. Case in point, GameCube prices. If you look at the start of 2025 and compare it to now, the prices are down by a 3% overall, which seems like a lot, but when you go back to the start of 2020 and compare it to today, it's not really all that much. In 2020, prices jumped almost 50% from the beginning of the year. Then in 2021, it jumped another 28% from the start of that year. So from 2020 to 2025, prices have increased 120%. So when you consider a 3% drop, it's like Elon Musk finding 20 bucks in his pocket versus you finding 20 bucks in your pocket. It's all relative. Comparing the breakdown of all 663 listings from pricecharting.com at the start of 2025, 18 listings are over $200, but the bulk of the listings are in the middle. To the end of the year, 2 more listings made it to the over 200 bracket, while 5 left the 100 to 200 bracket, and the middle 2 brackets increasing the most. But the majority of the listings are, let's be honest, not really what people are actually looking for outside of completionists. And when you drill down to the more popular games, you start to see that a 3% drop in price doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Take GoGo Hypergrind, for example. At the start of 2025, price charting had it at a value of $475. Now it's $389 with some sales below that. A loss of 90 bucks sounds great, but it's still a pretty expensive game. Other Grail games like Chibi-Robo and Cubivore barely budged in one way or the other, which indicates that the market is healthy despite the prices dropping overall. And it's not really good news if you actually want those games right now and don't have the disposable income to impulse buy them. But it does mean that if you really wanted to, you could budget and save for those games knowing that they aren't going to exponentially increase or decrease in value. Seriously, if you put away $80, the price of one Super Mario Kart World a month, you'd have enough for Chibi-Robo in 3 months, GoGo Hypergrind in 5, and Cubivore in 7 months. Popular must-have titles like Super Smash Bros. Melee, Luigi's Mansion, Twilight Princess, F-Zero GX, and Fire Emblem all remained in their respective price brackets, only fluctuating about $5 to $10. But the big fluctuations are the ones that you need to keep an eye on because that is the real barometer for market health. I already mentioned the heavy hitters saw price increases or remained pretty expensive, but some notable games did plummet in price. All of the Sonic games saw significant drops. Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic Heroes, and Sonic the Hedgehog Adventure 2 Battle lost almost half of its value from the start of the year. Same with Shadow the Hedgehog. None of these games were re-released on modern platforms, but it does appear that the hype from the Sonic movies has died down and the prices of those games along with it. Some of the Mario Party games did drop in value, but one breakout title of 2024 has settled, which is Piglet's Big Game, dropping 33% from the beginning of the year. And it looks like the Disney-fied Silent Hill 2 game has finally settled down to a more reasonable price, which goes to show you how expensive giving into the FOMO can be. Another new thing for Gamecube this year is the addition of the library to the Nintendo Switch Online service. Unfortunately, it is the Nintendo Monkey Paw, and Gamecube games are only available on the premium tier and exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2, and when you stop paying Nintendo, you lose access to said games, which trickle out at a snail's pace. To make matters worse, the games that Nintendo has released so far barely made a blip on the overall value of their physical counterparts. Well, bad in that prices didn't drop like Super Mario Sunshine did, but good in the sense that the re-releases didn't induce a demand for the physical copies, but that might change if the library continues to expand beyond just 6 games. But you're not here for online-only digital games, you're here for the physical titles. So over the past 5 years, I've been tracking 23 games that my subscribers have suggested in the comments, and, well, overall, the prices have dropped $253, but the bulk of that was caused by Disney Sports Basketball, which dropped $165. But the increases weren't that significant either, with Cubivore rising the most at $85. 6 games increased in price and 17 decreased in value, 10 of those decreasing less than $5. Switching to percentage change, the drops are more pronounced. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle dropping almost half of its price, but it's something that I didn't mention about the GameCube titles on the Nintendo Switch were titles that got a physical release. Namely, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which did get a remaster and a physical release. This game used to go for over $100, but now can be found for less than $50. It's not emphasized here because that drop happened last year, but it does illustrate how the collector market is driven by physical titles and not necessarily the age of the game, which should be an indication to companies that you can make a boatload of cash by simply putting a game on physical product for a modern system. Whether it's a cart for the Nintendo Switch or a disc for the PlayStation 5, it'll sell. But, of course, that eats into profits, and when you consider that digital doesn't have the added costs of carts and discs, and you can't resell those, and the looming threats of solid-state storage being eaten up by AI, I don't think that we're going to see more companies jumping on the physical re-release bandwagon. While this isn't necessarily good news if you were hoping to see prices go down to pre-pandemic levels, it is a good sign that prices have stabilized, and it proves that RGT 85 was and is still wrong about GameCube prices. That's gonna do it for this video. I know it's a little short, but I'm tinkering with the series to streamline it. So if you have any suggestions on what you want to see in 2026, leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe if you're new. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick, and I'll see you next time.